It's 98.5 KYGO afternoon show host Sean Patrick. Really excited to be in our 98.5 KYGO performance studio brought to you by Bing Beverages today because we have a guy who's very well known in Colorado. Cleto Cordero, lead singer of Flatland Cavalry, is here. Let's start with a song, man.
Let's do it. I'd love to play a new one if that's cool.
Let's do that for sure.
Yeah. I had a lyric that I had started my wife was writing songs. She's a singer-songwriter herself, Caitlin Butts, and she had a song that she was trying to work on, and so she needed a verse 2 for it, and so I wrote it, and the song was actually called Bored If I Don't, and she rejected it, if I will, and so I put it in my back pocket, and then I went to a songwrite one day, and the guys had a little piece at the very end of what would be the chorus, and I said, man, this makes me think of something I wrote. So I just kind of stitched it in there on the very front, and it ended up working beautifully. But wrote it with Luke Laird and Aaron Ratier, called Never Coming Back. Said till death do us part, babe. Does that include lust mistook for love, babe? It died too soon. Now there's a blank slate reflecting heartbreak, like dust under a rug. You're up and gone and swept away, standing in the rubble of a house we called a home, and dealing with the feeling of being all alone. And chewing on the gravel that you kicked up when you left, and now I'm staring at your lipstick on a front yard cigarette. I guess this is where the plans we made turn into the past. It ain't so much the fact that you're leaving, it's the waiting on you, knowing that you're never coming back. I should probably change the locks, babe. That'd be smart. Toss that key under the rock, babe. You broke my heart. Rip that clock off of the wall, babe. 'Cause you're long, long gone. Long, long gone, long, long gone, standing in the rubble of a house we called a home, and dealing with the feeling of being all alone, and chewing on the gravel that you kicked up when you left, and now I'm staring at your lipstick on a front yard cigarette. I guess this is where the plans we made turn into the past. It ain't so much the fact that you're leaving, it's the waiting on you, knowing that you're never coming back. Oh, you're never coming back. It ain't so much the fact that you're leaving, it's the waiting on you, knowing that you're never coming back. Thank you.
That kind of made me sad to start, Cleto.
Well, yeah, whenever it's all produced up, it's really an upbeat song, but it's kind of, we have a lot of melancholy in what we do, so.
For sure.
Yeah.
And as we were talking about off camera, I've been a big fan of Flatland for a really long time. I don't know how we haven't crossed paths, but 11 years in the business you guys have been now. Does it feel like 11 years?
Some days more than others when I'm climbing out of my bunk and, more vertebrae are popping and stuff. I feel like definitely been out here for a while.
And some days you probably think, man, why did I choose to be the front man of this band? Because I have to come do things like this while the rest of the band gets to stay in their bunk.
I feel like, truly, and I know you're being tongue-in-cheek, but yeah, I feel like it's I get to be here, and I've always wanted to travel around and play songs for people and stuff. So my mom had told me one time, her dream was to have a big family, and she was like, she found herself barefoot, pregnant, washing dishes in a single wide trailer, and she was like, God will give you what you ask for, but sometimes it looks different.
means not getting Sunday home with your wife to go fly out and meet people and stuff. So either way, it's still what I get to do.
It's pretty cool. I love that you said that for sure. Let's talk about music for a second. So we talked about it being 11 years in the business, and you guys had a ton of success, but I feel like there was a turning point that happened last year when you put out your latest album called Flatland Forever, and things just really blew up. What was the difference in that album? What happened? Why did things blow up so much after that album was released?
We had some moments before that helped. We recently signed with Interscope Records. We'd been an independent up until that point. However, a good opportunity, a door opened, and we walked through it, and we had a song in the Hunger Games movie shortly thereafter, and then another song in Twisters, and then this flat in between records. One of the guys our rep there at the Interscope was talking about maybe a place for new fans and old fans alike to figure out what Flatland Cavalry is about. So we put our favorite songs from all the projects on what would be Flatland Forever. So I think it's just all the songs we've collected over 10 years, people from all over the place discovering, what this band is about, and then going and busting up in the catalog and digging deep. But I just think we finally had a moment where everyone's looking at us and they have a place to look in that record.
How do you describe what you do? I think that in the world that we live in now, we tend to try to put things in genres, and we try to put things in boxes, and most artists will say it doesn't matter to me, but I'm still curious. Like if you meet somebody at the grocery store and you introduce yourself and you say, I'm Cleto and this is what I do, how do you describe what you do?
The shortest way it's ever come out of my mouth was describing it as easy on the ears and heavy on the heart. When I go to write a song, I'm just trying to write something meaningful and tell my truth or whatever that emotion that I'm feeling or someone else is feeling, and distill it into words and and meter and melody, and whether it's country or sounds folk or rock or whatever, by the time the band gets their hands on it, it wants to be what it wants to be. So I just try to stay out of the way and try to do my part to see to it that it becomes what it wants to be.
To me, that's the perfect way to describe what country music is, and obviously this is a country music radio station. I love, and I was telling you this off camera as well, but I love the fact that you guys are kind of, for lack of better terms, chasing country radio when you don't necessarily have to. You're headlining Red Rocks coming up next month, which I want to get into in a moment, but you're a big deal, quite frankly, and you don't have to have country radio, but you want country radio. Tell me more about that.
Sure. My mom and dad kept a radio on the windowsill. She worked as a probation officer for many years and worked in the sheriff's office, and one of her superiors gifted her a radio, and she kept it on the windowsill at my home that I grew up in, and it was always on 24/7, always tuned to a country station. And so anytime I was working outside with my dad or going inside to get a drink of water, it was playing music, and I feel like I soaked all that up. And that was the gift they gave me, was my love for music. And then my older brother gifted me a guitar when I was 14, and I was raised Catholic, so for the following Lent season, which starts in February, my parents were old school, so they turned the TVs off. Had no TV, cable, so had nothing else to do but start playing. However, it's I went down in the weeds of telling you the origin story, but yeah, it really just started with country radio, just kind of loving what I was hearing out of there and trying to mimic it or learn those songs, and then eventually start trying to write them, So
it's interesting to me that your sound came out the way that it did, because the era that you were growing up with on country radio doesn't sound like you sound.
Wow. Yeah, we have, it was like George Strait, Toby Keith, Brooks and Dunn, and some stuff is more dance hall-y, and I feel like we were a band, we're Texans, from Texas, grew up with all this Texas music and a lot of fiddle and a lot of influence and stuff. However, we, as I was telling you earlier, I just feel like when I started writing songs, and I was listening to other stuff too beyond that, James Taylor, John Mayer, other stuff's in the mix too, but the country roots is in my soul, so.
I love that. I love that. You played us a new song, so that means there's new stuff on the horizon. What can you tell me about that?
Yeah, we were in the studio earlier this year and took a break, took a whole month, and we're in Austin and recorded 17 new songs, and we're going to release that early next year, and just been eager to you know, we have Flatland Forever in this interim kind of project, but all this new stuff is in my heart, and I'm just eager to play it for people as soon as possible.
Cannot wait. And you mentioned your wife, Caitlin Butts. We play her song on the radio right now, and you've had some big duets with her over the years. Is there more plans for more music with the wife?
I think we'll always, whenever I hear that voice in my head that's like, man, Caitlin should, or someone else too, our producer Dwight, you know, she's featured on this new album too, like in some background vocals and such, but I feel like her and I will one of these days make a record ourselves, or we'll, as Luke Combs says, we'll be doing it even when we're not doing it.
I love that. I love that. Every other female artist in country music that's a fan of yours is probably like, dang it, I wanted to have a duet with Flatland, and there's just no way that that's ever going to happen. Caitlin gets all the female duets.
I definitely, whenever she'll speak up too if she hears a song that I've written. She's like, I love that. Can I please, sing on that? And another producer we worked with, Bruce Robinson, texted me one time and goes, man, Caitlin Butts, BGV's secret weapon, background vocals. So, when life hands you lemons, you make lemonade with your friends. And there's other females too that have, like Ashley Monroe sang with us as well too. And so I'm open to collab with whomever, but she's the closest person I can call.
But that makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. You collabed with a female at Red Rocks we were talking about as well. You opened for Lainey Wilson there. And then last year you got to headline Red Rocks for the first time. Mm-hmm. You're coming back next month. October is when it happens. Talk to me about that experience at Red Rocks.
Yeah, truly, truly incredible. Dream come true. I was in the green room before the show and had like this feeling in my soul of like, hey man, you should start the show with this song. And I don't like the song I wrote called Mountain Song. And I had some other song lined up, and, I try not to there's a lot more people involved and crew members and stuff regarding our show, changing lights and all this kind of stuff. So, I try to, get it as close as possible, but I just had, this stirring in my soul to tell them, hey, guys, last minute, we need to start with Mountain Song. Went out there, and it just totally set the whole tone for the whole night, and it brought everyone to presence, and seeing our band's name up there on the rocks, it was cast on there in a little lighted effect, and it just totally moved me in that moment. I couldn't almost sing the last verse because you realize all the things I've ever dreamed about doing are happening right now, and you can't think about it when you're doing it, you're just doing it. But later that evening, and looking out into the audience for the night's over, and the man that my first concert I ever went to, Randy Rogers' band, they opened up the show, and Randy came on at the end of the night and brought a joint with him that was lit aflame. And I'm 30 years old, my mom and dad are out there though in the audience. I'm like, dang, they've never seen me smoke weed, but we take a little toke but just seeing them all that happening, and then when the last note's strung, waving goodbye, and just seeing my mom and dad out in the audience, I'll never forget it. And going home that night, Caitlin telling me her side of things, how she saw it, and kind of seeing me step out there and the lights from behind me, and felt like kind of Johnny Cash moment, and it made her just totally bawl. But yeah, you really can catch up to your dreams, and that was a night that for sure was crystallized. So I'm eager to come back. I love that place, so beautiful.
I got the chills as you were telling that story. I almost feel like you can't replicate that. So what makes you want to come back? I almost you just want to jar that up and never experience it again.
Sure, yeah. I don't know if you can ever. The first time only happens once, and you got to soak it in and remember that, and it'll be incredible. Every time thereafter is another opportunity for something new to happen, So I won't try to recreate that first night, but we went there and we played it. We have experience. We know, if anything, it's just how do we dream a little bit higher and see what we can do differently. So
can't wait to see it, man. I told you we were going to talk about this. I got to talk to you because you're from Lubbock, Texas. You went to Texas Tech, and I watched. Being a Colorado fan, I watched CU play Texas Tech last year, and I didn't know about the tortilla throwing tradition that y'all have. What do you throw tortillas? Is that something you do too?
I've thrown a tortilla in my day. I'm not. I don't know why I did it, and I don't know why everyone else does it. To be honest with you, but it's a phenomenon there for sure. And there's a tortilla factory in town there in Lubbock. I'm not sure if that has something to do with it. Funny story about it too is our current Swiss Army knife in our band, Adam Gallegos, plays the piano, banjo, mandolin, all this stuff. That was the first show he sat in with us, was in Lubbock, and we kind of I didn't say we put him to the test like it was a big deal, but I was like, we need some tortillas. And he was the new guy. And I said, hey, man, could you stop at the store and pick up like 5 dozen of them? And so we went to the store and grabbed as many as he could. And we, at the end of our show, we were throwing them in the audience. And so
you were throwing them. They weren't throwing them at you, because that's become a phenomenon in country music now. Like people throwing stuff on stage, huh?
Yeah, man. I've had stuff thrown at me before. One time it was a beer bottle in a really small Texas town at a rodeo that we played, and the bottle's just flying in slow motion, and then I feel my wife just tugging me at the shoulder to get me off the stage.
Yeah.
But it's don't do it. Don't, if you're thinking about it, don't throw something, because what do they say? It comes back around. You don't want someone to throw a beer can
That's
at you.
true.
Yeah.
Not condoning anything, but if they were going to throw something, a tortilla is better than a beer bottle for sure.
They're a lot easier to catch with your mouth too.
And if it pegs you in the face, it's not going to hurt very bad, I wouldn't think. But don't throw tortillas either.
Yeah, don't do that.
All right, enough about tortillas, enough talking. Let's play some more music.
Are you cool with another new song?
Heck yeah.
I just want to play. I told you there's other sounds in what we do. This is one of them. Called Unglued.
Well, isn't it strange how years can bring emptiness from a good thing? Who's to blame? The hands of time are mine, or mine. Ooh, what do you do when love is gone and leaves you haunted? Except for you, I got everything I ever wanted. Ooh, you said we'd last forever, that ain't true. Ooh, you said we'd stick together and came unglued. And isn't it funny? Making plans with God above, laughing in the stands when you're on the bottom, torn in two, clinging to hope like bubble gum under your shoe. Ooh, what do you do when love is gone and leaves you haunted? Except for you, I got everything I ever wanted. Ooh, you said we'd last forever, that ain't true. Ooh, you said we'd stick together and came unglued. And came unglued.
Two sad songs back to back.
I know, I need some tissues.
I could play another one that's not sad. I could play a love song. But.
No, you play whatever you wanted to play. I'm not going to take you off. I feel like you're going to play a sad song again. Is that what you're
No, I
hinting?
don't. I didn't realize that till I started. So I started kicking the ball. It was too far away.
You play whatever you want. You got one more in you, though?
I'd love to, yeah. I fly a lot. I travel a lot. I meet people all the time. And I sat on a flight. I ran into a songwriter friend of mine named Ryan Beaver. And we met each other at the terminal, ended up sitting next to each other. I took the window, he took the aisle, and a woman ends up sitting in between us, and we all meet each other, and usually everyone puts their headphones on and ignores each other, but we were feeling, froggy, I guess. I don't know what the right word is, but the bartender comes by and gives us, we end up, I think, having like 3 drinks on that flight. It was pretty wild, but we had a good time. We got to know each other, and anyways, then I ran into him, several months later, and we wrote a song, and he was just meditating on how much fun we had and how that doesn't happen that often, just meeting people and stuff. And really, as much as we travel around, it's truly incredible that everyone gets where they're supposed to be. So I wrote a song about that day. It's called Bird's Eye View.
She took the middle seat, introduced herself to me, said when we're 10,000 feet, I'm buying. And get me off the ground, I prefer looking down, like a bird heaven bound, I love flying. A little buzz, get your mind off the crash. From some chairs in the sky, we both laugh. And it's a wonder we all get where we're going, right where we're meant to be, even when it's hard to see. Half the fun of it all's not knowing. So take a drink, have a laugh, make some good from the bad. Enjoy the ride while you're passing through. There's something about the girl and the way she sees the world through a beautiful bird's eye view. Do you ever think about how they've got it figured out, floating around the clouds like a daydream, with their freedom and their wings, always got a song to sing. When I reach the other side, I could be one and fly back home when I'm done with all this leaving. It's a wonder we all get where we're going, right where we're meant to be, even when it's hard to see. Half the fun of it all's not knowing. So take a drink, have a laugh, make some good from the bad. Enjoy the ride while you're passing through. There's something about the girl and the way she sees the world, a beautiful bird's eye view. Ooh, flying high is worth the fall, to learn to see it all through a beautiful bird's eye view.
Thank you.
You remember that Dierks Bentley song called Drunk on a Plane?
Yes, I do.
I
Yep.
feel like that's the more mature version of that. Or like you got the real good buzz going after you got drunk on a plane, you're looking out the window, and that's what you're thinking.
Yeah, it wasn't trying to forget somebody. It was like
Yeah.
remembering what we're doing
For
now.
sure. I
Yeah.
love it. Well, thank you so much for
Thank
taking
you.
a little time. We'll see you at Red Rocks next month.
See you at Red Rocks. Come on.
Cleto Cordero of Flatland Cavalry joining us in the 98.5 KYGO Performance Studio, brought to you by Bing Beverages. We'll see you soon.